This is not going to be a video about Madam Web and telling you whether or not you should see Madam Web. There are plenty of people on this platform, as well as a website dedicated to aggregating reviews and giving it a number that's going to inform you of that, and you can choose to listen to those voices if you want. The information is out there. What I am compelled to make a video about is something that I heard pretty much every writer, some directors, and most actors bashing last year, and that is movie studios.
He just said, let's talk about this, and mainly just talked about how shitty the studio was when it came to all this. Didn't want to bash the filmmaker or the performances, which I disagree with that, because I'm going, did you see Dakota Johnson's performance? Come on. But we're going to talk about Chris Stuckmann. Chris Stuckmann inspired me to start my YouTube channel. I used to watch, when he was just up and coming, I'd watch his YouTube, and I liked the way that he reviewed movies, and I've been watching him for a while, and you know, I might have fallen off in recent years, but there's sometimes where I go, you know what? I wonder what Stuckmann has to say about this movie. And sometimes, and most of the time I should say, probably about 85% of the time, his opinion, my opinion, pretty much a lot of it's like the same, at least, you know, sometimes. But you know, when it came to him, Jeremy Jahns, you know, those are the guys that oh yeah, I would look to those guys when it comes to this. So he decides to see Madam Web, and instead of doing an actual review, kind of just breaking it down where he goes like, all right, this has got to stop when it comes to studios fucking with these movies, which we can all agree on. We can all agree on. And there was like a clip of his not so review, and it wasn't a review. If you actually look at the title, it doesn't say Madam Web review. He just says, we need to talk about this. We have to talk about this. That's what he titled it. So he didn't want to give a review. And we'll watch the beginning of it right here.
So I just saw Madam Web. There was no screening for it in my area. There were no late night showings before the day, so I had to go see it on Valentine's Day. And I thought to myself, probably not going to do a video for this one based off of what I've heard, since I do try to keep it mostly about film celebration on this channel. Having seen the film, I'm going to tell you that this is not a movie review of Madam Web. I am not about bashing filmmakers, artists. I know how hard it is to make a movie. I do not know how hard it is to make a movie under the studio system. I was able to make an indie film without a giant corporation breathing down my neck, which is not the privilege that S.J. Clarkson had when she directed Madam Web under Sony, which I can only imagine was monumentally difficult. This is not going to be a video about Madam Web and telling you whether or not you should see Madam Web. There are plenty of people on this platform, as well as a website dedicated to aggregating reviews and giving it a number that's going to inform you of that, and you can choose to listen to those voices if you want. The information is out there. What I am compelled to make a video about is something that I heard pretty much every writer, some directors, and most actors bashing last year, and that is movie studios. But before we go any further, I do want to give a special thank you to the sponsor for...
Okay, and then of course an ad comes up. Oh, I know, yeah, I know. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bash this in, but let me read this ad first for a minute and a half. I get it. You got to pay the bills. It's whatever. I saw a lot of people, you know, taking a clip from this, and you know, and will I say that it gets a little preachy? Yeah. Will I say that he kind of sounds like, you know, he's trying to be a teacher and just kind of like, you know, like he's up in front of a class and trying to, you know, he's holding like a pen or something like that, and like, yeah, sure. I'll say that, but at the same time, this is the video that he wanted to make. Film criticism is an interesting thing, because growing up, I watched Siskel and Ebert, and then of course it was Ebert and Roper, and I'd always look forward to getting their opinions on it. And then naturally, it didn't matter. If I wanted to see the movie, I wanted to see the movie. I always had that mindset. And then of course you have Rotten Tomatoes that takes all these critiques, all the film critics, and then creates like a system that I don't like. I don't like the system, but I do like that you can actually find all their articles. You can have links to their article. I like the fact that it does have all that there. I just don't like the fact that people just go to that site, see the tomato meter that's huge on the screen, and then that makes them determine whether they want to watch a film or not. I fucking hate that. I've had friends that said, oh, well, it's 37% on Rotten Tomatoes, you know, and I hate that. I'm like, so what? Let's go see the movie. I hate that crap. Chris Stuckmann He started off, you know, his whole channel was based off of film critique. So if a film is bad, you got to give a bad review. I see when people are like, hey, wait a minute, you're supposed to do this. This is a part of your thing. And that's what he started off as. And I've seen him do that before. But he's a different person now. He's grown. And he's a filmmaker now. I'm wondering what's going on with his film that he, like, it was like last year, like early last year, or maybe even the year before, that he announced all that and he wasn't even doing as much like videos as he normally did. And I'm kind of wondering like what's going on. I'm actually anxious to see it. I want to see what he, you know, I want to see him put his artistry in motion. I want to see his film. You got people like Jeremy Jahns, who has not changed his style ever since he started. He has the same intro, same style of video. He just does his reviews, gives like his opinion in the way that he does, and he's just done his thing. It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Makes fucking sense. Not everybody's able to do that. Some people just grow and they want to do something different. He even said right at the beginning that, hey, I like to celebrate film. I don't want to just bash a movie and do all that. That's perfectly fine too. In my opinion, okay. Again, he didn't put review in the video. He just said, let's talk about this, and mainly just talked about how shitty the studio was when it came to all this. Didn't want to bash the filmmaker or the performances, which I disagree with that, because I'm going, you see Dakota Johnson's performance? Come on. S.J. Clarkson, who directed this movie, I'm sure she got a ton of notes, and this is not the movie that she wants, and hopefully she sings about it and throws Sony under the bus. I hope she does, but you can't tell me that some of the directing choices, like with the cinematography being all crazy, was not part of her choices too. So that's where I kind of disagree when it comes to Stuckmann. But at the same time, if this is what he wants to do and he wants to just celebrate film, perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. The people were just like, that were going after him, I was like, hey, so what? This is what he wants to do. He wants to take this approach. Let him take this approach. There was one comment that was actually funny. What was it? Oh yeah, the top comment was actually pretty funny. It says, how to say Madam Web sucks without saying Madam Web sucks. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what this is. Now, that's why that comment's the top comment, and it's got like over 4,000 likes, because yes, this is essentially doing that very thing, but he's just trying to do something different, and that's perfectly fine. He is going to get backlash, and hopefully he was prepared to get this backlash, because yeah, some people, like I said, you can have your Jeremy Jahns who just does that, doesn't change anything, and it works. It's almost like I can compare those two to like Metallica and Slayer. Metallica, you listen to their albums, they try to change shit all the time. They don't sound like they did. Slayer, pff, they've been playing the same shit since they started. You know, it's just, but it works. I don't fully agree with it, but I don't think, like, some people who are really just so angry about it, I was like, ah.